what really matters. I am an old man now. My hair is white, my hands are weak, but my heart remembers everything like it was yesterday. Time passes fast, but some memories stay forever. I want to tell you my story, the story of my family, my mistakes, and the lesson I learned too late. Many years ago, I lived in a big house with my wife and 2 children. We were rich. We had everything: money, a beautiful home, new clothes, big cars, and nice food. We travelled to many places. My children went to good schools. We had no problems with money. From the outside, our life looked perfect. But I was always busy. I worked from morning until night. I thought I was doing the right thing. I believed money would make my family happy. Every day I left home early. Every night I came home late. I thought I was being a good husband and father. But I was not there for my family. I missed many dinners, many talks, many smiles. One evening I came home from work. My wife was standing at the window. Her face was pale. Her hands were shaking. I asked her, "What's wrong?" She turned to me with worry in her eyes and said, "Our son left the house this afternoon. He said nothing. He didn't come back. I don't know where he is." My heart dropped. I looked at the clock. It was almost midnight. We tried to call him, but his phone was off. I went outside and looked in the street. I called his friends. No one knew where he was. Time passed slowly. We waited in silence. My wife sat on the couch, her hands covering her face. I stood by the door, hoping to hear his footsteps. Finally, the door opened. He walked in, but something was wrong. His face was white. His eyes were red. He spoke with strange words. He said things that didn't make sense. He looked lost, like he was not really there. My wife ran to him. I helped him to his room. He lay on the bed and closed his eyes. We sat by his side. I didn't speak. I felt like a stranger in my own home. My son was sick, but not with a fever. His heart was hurting. His mind was tired. I didn't understand it yet, but something was very wrong. That night I could not sleep. I looked at the ceiling and thought, what did I miss? In the morning he opened his eyes. He looked at us. Then, slowly, he began to cry. I sat on the bed and asked, "What is it, son? What happened to you?" He wiped his eyes and said, "I feel empty. I feel alone. You are always working. You are never here. I don't feel loved. I feel forgotten." Those words hit me hard. My chest hurt. My eyes filled with tears. I had no answer. I only had silence. My wife held his hand and cried too. We finally saw the truth, but maybe too late. After that day, our home felt different. There was no more laughter. There were no jokes or happy talks at dinner. My son stayed in his room most of the time. He did not smile. He did not look at us. I wanted to fix it, but I didn't know how. I had spent so many years working, I forgot how to be a father. One morning, I sat with him. I said, "Son, I am sorry. I didn't see your pain. I thought I was helping by working hard, but I was not with you." He looked at me and said, "I don't need money. I need you." His voice was soft, but his words were strong. They went deep into my heart. I wanted to change. I started coming home earlier. I tried to talk with him more. I listened when he spoke, but it was not easy. He had a wall around him. He smiled sometimes, but it was a small, sad smile. I knew I had to be patient. I had to keep trying. My wife and I also began to talk more. We used to speak only about work or plans, but now we talked about feelings, about our children, about our life. We both felt like we missed so much. We had a family, but we forgot to be together. One weekend I asked my son to go for a walk with me. At first he said no, but then he changed his mind. We walked in the park near our house. It was quiet. The wind was soft. He looked at the sky and said, "I used to come here alone." I asked him, "Why didn't you tell me?" He answered, "I didn't think you'd listen." That broke my heart again. I promised myself, from that day on, I would always listen. Days passed slowly. I tried to spend more time at home. I made breakfast on weekends. I sat with my son in the living room. We didn't talk much at first. Sometimes we just sat in silence. But I stayed. That was something I never did before. My daughter was also quiet. She was younger, but she felt the change too. One night she came to me and asked, "Daddy, are you going to work late again?" I looked at her little face and said, "No, I'm staying home tonight." She smiled and hugged me. That small hug meant everything. My wife began to smile more too. We cooked dinner together again. We played music in the kitchen. It was not perfect, but it was better. We were healing slowly. I saw my family coming back to life. One evening my son came to me and said, "Thank you for trying." I didn't say much. I just put my hand on his shoulder. He didn't pull away. That moment felt like a new beginning. I learned something very important. Time is more valuable than money. Love is more powerful than things. I almost lost my family before I saw that. Life at home became quieter but softer. We still had problems, but now we faced them together. My son started to smile again. Not every day, but more than before. He spoke more during dinner. He laughed with his sister. It was a slow change, but it was real. One Sunday afternoon, we all went to the lake near our town. It was the first family trip in a long time. My son brought his camera. He liked taking photos of trees and birds. My daughter ran by the water. My wife held my hand. We were just a family, together, no phones, no work, just time. That day, my son took a photo of us all sitting under a tree. Later he showed it to me and said, "I want to remember this day." My eyes filled with tears. I smiled and said, "Me too, son." I started to leave work earlier every day. I said no to late meetings. I said yes to walks, games and family time. I had missed too much already. I didn't want to miss more. One night my son came to my room. He sat on the bed and said, "Dad, I want to talk." That never happened before. He told me about his sadness, his thoughts, his fears. I listened. I didn't interrupt. I didn't fix. I just listened. When he finished, I hugged him and said, "I'm here now, always." He nodded and said, "I believe you." After that night, things felt different. My son started to change in small ways. He got out of his room more often. He helped his mother with dinner. He talked with his sister. He even laughed sometimes, real laughter, not just a smile to hide pain. I began to understand how much he had kept inside. All those years, while I worked and chased success, he was waiting. He was hoping I would notice him, talk to him, ask him how he felt. And when I didn't, he slowly lost hope. I was there, but not really there. That hurt him more than I knew. One evening we sat outside on the porch. The sky was full of stars. My son looked up and said, "I used to come out here alone and ask the stars for help." I turned to him and said, "I'm sorry I wasn't here to hear you then, but I'm here now." He looked at me, and for the first time I saw peace in his eyes. My daughter was growing too. She became more open, more joyful. She started drawing pictures of our family. In every picture I was there, smiling. I asked her once, "Why do you always draw me like this?" She said, "Because now you smile for real." That made me smile even more. We were healing as a family, not because we had money, but because we had time, love and care. And I finally learned love needs time. Children need to be seen. Families need presents, not just gifts. Years have passed since then. My children are grown now. My son is a teacher. He helps young people with their problems. He listens to them, the way I learned to listen to him. He once told me, "I want to be the adult I needed when I was younger." His words made me proud, but also a little sad. I wish I had been that person sooner. My daughter is an artist. She paints pictures of families, nature and love. Her art is full of colour and warmth. She says, "Family is the heart of everything." I see my wife in her calm eyes and strong smile. She reminds me of the quiet love that saved us. My wife and I are older now. We take walks in the garden. We drink tea on the porch. We talk about the past, not with pain, but with peace. We made mistakes, but we changed. We lost time, but we found each other again. Sometimes I sit alone and look at the photo my son took years ago at the lake. I keep it near my bed. In that photo, I see something more than smiles. I see hope, healing and love. Now, when I think about life, I don't think about money or work. I think about that moment, that tree, that photo, that day when I almost lost everything, but instead I found what truly matters. And that is the story I wanted to share with you.